Mystery used to make us do this equation. I thought it was really interesting, but before it was boot camps. And it was, how many times has a woman been approached from the time she goes through puberty till the time she's 21? And we started you do the math on it. And it's like 5 times a day versus this many days of his life. And she's, let's just say 2 days a week, she's not out. And it came up to some ungodly number of like 24,000 times she had been approached before the time she was 22. And then we did the same equation for a man. And it was like less than a 500. And then the thing he was trying to express to you is, of course, she is more calibrated than you. She's been approached hundreds of thousands of times more than you have. So when you come up and you're not congruent with the person that you're saying, she's going to pick that out. David Buss talked about this, and Myron Gaines actually talked about this on Fresh and Fit. The concept of women having a better ability to walk into a room and be able to sniff out hierarchies. They can very quickly tell that, like, that guy's the boss, but that guy's in charge. And that person's cheating on them, their husband, with that person right there. Women are better at that than men. And I thought that was really interesting. And Dr. Buss was talking about that too. He went on a date one time to some event and then came out later and is like, wow, it's crazy that Becky's like cheating on her husband with blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, how could you tell? I was like, I just watched them together. Turns out later she was completely right. And these sex differences are things that some people find offensive or controversial, whereas men tend to be better at pathfinding. Women tend to be better at telling social hierarchies. Women tend to be better at reading facial expressions. Because our gender, specifically the XY gender, just so we don't get in trouble here, the XY gender doesn't carry children. The XX gender carries the children. And so because of that, she would have to be better at reading facial expressions than men. This is an evolutionary adaptation that happens. And that part was getting skipped too, because it was General Patton who said this. It was one of my favorite quotes. I'm former military officer. Yeah. The enemy gets a vote too, right? And one of the things that happened with early pickup, it was like, you didn't get the girl because you didn't do the pickup lines correctly. Wait, no, wait. What if she just didn't want you? Oh, no, that's not a possibility. That's not a possibility. You didn't do your gambit correctly and didn't go to this step, to this step, this step.
Attraction, not enough rapport. So then she opted out.
And it was one of these crazy things where I when I started teaching social circle stuff, it was like, how about let's just have hundreds of them? Then a couple of them will pick you. And then once the first one picks you, then 2 more will fight over you. Then 3. Then all of a sudden the rumors come out that you had a threesome with these 2. Then 4 more fight after you. And then now you don't do any pickup at all, right? And it was just so outside. But guys who ran strip clubs, guys who were bartenders, guys who were like male strippers, guys who were VIP hosts, when I explained it to them, they were like, duh, how come everyone knows this? This is obvious.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to guys in pickup, because here's the other thing that I noticed, and maybe you saw this too. When you had the nerdy guy who was picked on in high school, and he comes into this whole thing, and you tell him, hey, bro, here's a great piece of advice. Go find some dudes who just fucking slay and hang out with them for a couple years. Live with them for a couple years. They're like, no, those were the guys who put my head in the toilet when I was a freshman in high school. Fuck those guys. I don't want to hang out with Brock, the quarterback, and Kyler. I don't want to hang out with the big, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hang out with those guys. I lived in Atlanta in 07. I would hang out with these club promoters who literally had women falling off of them. Would go to a club with 20, 30, 40 girls. And then I would read pickup forums and hang out with these guys who couldn't get a girl to save their life. And the reason why these 2 groups never communicated was because these guys had nothing, they had no interest in hanging out with pickup dudes. And pickup dudes were intimidated by the former quarterback. And I just saw this separation that happened during that period of time. One of the things that I felt like pickup got wrong was the concept of having female friends to introduce you to other women.
Oh, yeah.
You working in a bar, you clearly understood this, but there's this antithetical, like little like teeth gnashing, like, no, you cannot be friends with women. And this was hardcore coming out of the pickup community and the red pill community.
Well, there's 2 things. So one, you can't be friends. And the reason is because these guys were so terrified of being put in the friend zone because it's happened to them so much in their life.
Correct.
The idea of that happening again is too much for them to deal with, because the pattern recognition at this point now puts them in a position where if that happens again, it's now my fault because I know better and I can't do that to myself. The other part is, for some of those guys, they've never had close female friends. So even being close to a girl, all they're thinking is, how do I get in her pants?
Yeah.
And of course, she can pick that up.
Yes.
And so that's going to make things difficult, or she's going to opt out to hang. She's not going to hang out in that atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, there's this third kind of guy who doesn't even have guy friends.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even have friends. Like, you're like, hey man, just do whatever you do with your guy friends. Just treat them like your guy friend. What up, motherfucker? And they're like, oh, I don't have any guy friends either. There's that group, which came after 08 with the advent of the iPhone. Or with the female friends specifically. Like, did you, this was the thing that I saw. I was like, I kept seeing the promoter with female friends,
Oh.
bringing other females, and I kept reading the pickup blog telling me I can't be friends with females.
Well, again, if you're working at a club, you know these dynamics. So not only was I working in a club, I was playing in bands.
Yeah.
And depending on certain shows, what I always made sure there was a group of girls that I was friends with that were coming to the show.
Yes.
Especially if I was playing, because I want the other girls who were coming out to the show to see me with all of these girls. And they were always on the guest list because these were the girls that I would be partying with. We were great friends. Maybe I slept with some of them. Maybe I didn't. That didn't matter. It was to be around them and us having the best time in that club.
Yes.
More than anyone else. Because if we were having the best time in that club, every other girl is wondering to know, who are those guys? And why are they having so much fun? How are they so relaxed, having the most enjoyment out of anyone else, right? And of course, they would slowly then start gravitating like a tractor
Isn't it
pull
crazy?
into that because they want to be a part of
Yeah.
that. And then it's like, hey, Sarah, say hello to the girls right behind you.
It's so crazy. Until you actually see it, you don't believe it's real. When you or I describe that thing, because I just knew you used to work in a bar, you played in a band. I knew you had experienced it.
Yep.
Until you've actually experienced women introducing you to other women because your female friends see you as worthy, you never will go back and you'll never believe in anything else. But until then, it's just so filled of like Spurg rage, of like this red pill rage that these guys have. They don't believe that thing is real.
Yeah, and if you were introduced by another girl, she's already given permission to the other girl and vouched for you.
Yes.
So if the girl has any interest, it's already been, that's my boy, he's rad, he's all yours, go for it.
And the other one was that I love, and I specifically say it like this: whether or not a woman is your friend and whether or not a woman is sleeping with you have nothing to do with each other.
No.
They are completely mutual. I have women that do not like me as a human being who want to sleep with me all the time, and women who think I am the greatest, who call me their brother and have no interest in sleeping with me at all. And guys, again, when you come from the pickup mindset is I need to the girl has to like me a ton in order for her to sleep with me, instead of we're in this circle together and it's just like, oh no, I've noticed these incredible things about you, and all of these things that you're trying to overcome with your words in pickup, they're already overcome because that gorgeous girl you're friends with introduced you to me. And so because of that, again, my friend Kindly, I have a girlfriend now, but before, back in the day, Kindly would introduce me to girls, and I would just notice, this was one thing, I wasn't even doing this deliberately. Kindly's it's like multi-time Playboy Maxim model, whatever. She would introduce me to girls, and I would just notice this incredible immediate attraction from them. And I was like, there's something here. And then later on, when I meet Dr. David Buss and he explains mate choice copying, I'm like, oh, there's a psychological word for this shit. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, wait a second, what do they call this in Red Pill or the Manosphere? They call this pre-selection. So pre-selection is mate choice copy. It's the real thing. And then they do experiments with all these different mammals and some birds. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, shit, they all want to be around the male who has other females around them. That's incredible. And then I'm like, wait, could this overcome being short? Could this overcome being poor? Could this overcome being not attractive? Sure enough, it sure does. And then I have Bilzerian on my podcast, and I'm like, hey, money, fame, having a bunch of girls, which is the strongest? He goes, well, fame is the most important one. He goes, but the next one is jealousy. He says jealousy. I was like, oh, so even Dan Bilzerian is talking about mate choice copy. What the fuck is going on here, man? Maybe this is the thing we all miss. But of course, you have to get over that thing where I'm going to get put in the friend zone. And that is the work, bro. That is like the lava at the bottom of Super Mario Brothers. You don't want to get in the friend zone. And so because of that, they never experiment and find out that this is true.
And all the rules that are broken or held to as Bible rules to not end up in the friend zone, which may not put you in the friend zone, but it puts this girl in a position where she doesn't want to ever hang out with you. So you're not creating a social circle that has women in it for you to be able to use that to your advantage.
If I want to go to a club, am I going to have a better time mulling around the GA, or am I going to have a better time and a more efficient time in the VIP?
Always want to be in the VIP if you can get it.
But who's going to get me in the VIP?
There you go.
The girls.
Mm-hmm.
It is so, it's so, dude, the comments I get on this, like, no, dude, it's a cope. These women are taking advantage of you. And I'm like, you're criticizing what I'm doing when I'm on stage at Encore Electric Daisy Carnival in the Marquee Skydeck, standing between Paris Hilton and Machine Gun Kelly, but you can't even get in, telling me that what I'm doing is coping. And it's so crazy when you see that. and the denial of that, like one specific thing. The second thing that I felt like they kind of messed up, and I don't know if you guys talk about this a lot, but like you're in New York or in Los Angeles, it's the guy in Des Moines who's like, I want the Playmate. I'm like, then leave Des Moines. Oh no, I don't want to leave Des Moines. No, bro, like that's not how this works. Like the willingness to leave. I live on the Strip in Las Vegas because you understand? I live on the Strip. I don't live on like near the Strip. Before I lived next to 6th Street in Austin, Texas. Do you understand? If you lived in Kansas City, you're in Power and Light District. If you were in Los Angeles, you live in West Hollywood or in Beverly Hills. If you live in Meatpacking, if you're in New York, and you live in Brooklyn if you're in Miami. That's why the rents are so high, because you go live there because that's where the fucking action is.
When I lived in Hollywood, we lived in Hollywood Tower, and our whole wing of our building was drug dealers, promoters, and
shout out to Panorama Towers in Las Vegas, Nevada.
That was Hollywood Towers. I just spent 2 years in Panorama, and now I'm at the Ogden downtown, right next to Fremont Street.
Oh wow! Yeah. Oh yeah, the Ogden, very good. Very nice.
But again, I wouldn't have had access to everyone that I had met if I didn't live there.
Yeah.
Getting there, we just got to L.A., Hollywood Towers, all this stuff's going on. What I did, I would buy several fifths of Maker's Mark, my favorite bourbon. Sure. It's a nice brand. I knew people would appreciate it. Every night, if it was Friday or Saturday night, and it was about 3 a.m, and the upstairs neighbors the EDM is going. They've just got back from the clubs. You could hear people up there. I would roll up with a fifth of Maker's Mark, knock on the door. I'm your neighbor. I just moved in downstairs. I heard you all partying. I wanted to say hello, and I brought you a bottle. They're like, come on in. You brought booze. And they would introduce me to everyone they were partying with that night. And that's how I met everyone in that wing of that building and started going. The one girl, Michelle, managed, her name was Linda. She managed the Roxbury when we got there. And so then she would put us on the list. AJ and I to go down there and hang out with them. And then, of course, then we would be on stage dancing and partying, and we had an in.
You live here, so you understand, like going to a nightclub here when you live here is easy. You're local. You just show your local ID. It's not a problem. In LA, if you have an LA ID, they shit on you. Like they don't one of the things when I lived in LA for 2 years is that I realized I couldn't have guy friends. I wasn't allowed to have them because I can't take you anywhere with me, man.
You can't roll up in a club 5 deep with dudes.
It's very different there.